I've delivered a lot of strange orders in 11 years with Cascade Crust Pizza, but only one of them ever showed up in a police report 6 months later, with my name listed as a witness I never agreed to be. The order came in at 10:40 on a Tuesday. A single large pizza, paid online, delivery address listed as Sunrise Self-Storage, Unit 214. No name. In the notes field, instead of directions, there was a 4-digit gate code. I remember thinking that was odd even before I left the store. Customers don't usually know the gate code to somewhere they supposedly don't have access to yet. The facility was empty when I pulled in. No attendant booth lit, no other cars, just rows of orange doors under sodium lights, rain coming down hard enough to blur the numbers. I punched in the code. The gate groaned open like it hadn't been used in a while. Unit 214 was near the back, past a row where half the lights had burned out, and the door wasn't closed. It was raised about 1.5 feet off the ground, propped with something I couldn't identify from a distance, lights spilling out from underneath in a thin yellow strip. I called out. Nobody answered. I crouched down to knock on the door itself, and that's when I saw them. Through the gap, stacked 3 deep along the back wall, children's backpacks, maybe a dozen, all the same style, all with laminated tags zip-tied to the straps. I couldn't read the names from where I was. I didn't want to get close enough to try. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A text, not from the app. Wrong unit. Leave the food at the gate and go. Do not knock again. I didn't ask who sent it. I set the pizza down 8 feet from the door, the way you'd set something down for an animal you didn't trust, and I walked back to my car without running, because some part of me understood that running would tell whoever was watching that I'd understood what I saw. I quit that job 4 months later, for reasons that had nothing to do with that night, or so I told myself. It wasn't until the following spring that a coworker sent me a local news link with the subject line, "Isn't this the storage place?" A multi-unit raid, human trafficking task force, 14 arrests, Unit 214 specifically named in the article, along with photos of the facility gate that I recognized instantly. What I didn't expect, what I still haven't fully made peace with, was the follow-up call I got 2 weeks later from a detective's office, asking me to confirm a delivery record from that October night, because my employee ID had shown up in documents recovered from the unit, not as a suspect, as a name someone else had written down on a list, next to a date, next to an address, months before I ever got assigned that route. I never delivered a pizza to that address by accident. Someone had already decided I would be the one to knock on that door, long before the order was ever placed. I've still got the dent in my rear bumper from the night 3 strangers tried to take my car with me still in it. And Lone Star Pico never even asked why I didn't finish my shift. It was just past 11, the kind of Texas night where the asphalt still radiates heat after the sun's been down for hours. The call came in before the app order even loaded. A customer phoning the store directly, which almost never happens anymore. He asked how much cash I usually carried on a Friday. He asked if I delivered alone. I laughed it off as a nervous first-time customer and told him enough for change, don't worry, and I regret that answer more than almost anything else from that night. The address the app gave me 20 minutes later was a subdivision still under construction on the edge of town. Cypress Ridge Estates, according to the entrance sign, half the streetlights not yet wired, driveways leading to houses that were just frames and plywood. My headlights were the only light on the whole block. The house number matched a lot with no house on it, just a construction dumpsters, a stack of lumber under a tarp, and a car parked at an angle that put its front bumper almost flush against the only way back out of the cul-de-sac. I didn't get out. That's the one decision from that night I'm proud of. I sat there with my foot still on the brake, engine running, watching 2 figures step out from behind the dumpster, unhurried, like they had all the time they needed. I threw the car in reverse before they'd covered half the distance. The blocking car lurched forward to close the gap, and I clipped its front corner, backing past it hard enough to rock my whole car sideways, hard enough that for 1 second I thought I'd stalled out completely. Someone slapped a hand flat against my back windshield as I straightened out. I didn't look to see whose. I ran the stop sign at the entrance to Cypress Ridge doing almost 50, no headlights behind me that I could see, though I kept checking the mirror the entire 11 minutes it took to reach the gas station on Route 287, where I sat in the parking lot with the doors locked until a night clerk finally came out to ask if I was okay. Police found the customer account was created that same afternoon with a stolen card, address false, phone number already disconnected by the time anyone called it back. No arrests, no leads, just a case number and a form I had to fill out describing two men I never saw clearly enough to identify. What keeps me up some nights isn't the chase, it's the phone call afterward, when another driver from a different pizza chain across town messaged me out of nowhere, having heard about it through a mutual friend, to tell me almost the exact same thing had happened to her 3 weeks earlier. Same kind of phone call beforehand, same unfinished subdivision, same blocked exit, and that she'd never reported it because nothing had actually happened to her. Nobody has ever explained why they let her go and didn't let me. The last text I ever got from a customer wasn't threatening. That's what still bothers me. It was warm, familiar, and it proved he'd been standing somewhere I never told him I lived. He started ordering from Peachtree Pizza Co. in November. Always the same order, always requesting me by name in the delivery notes, which the app allows and which I'd never had a customer do before. The first few times, it felt flattering in a harmless way. He tipped well, he was polite at the door, nothing forward, nothing that would have made me report it to my manager if I'd tried. The second month, the comments started. Small ones. Nice haircut. When'd you get that done? Except I'd had it cut 2 days earlier, at a salon across town, and told no one at work. Another night, how was spin class? I did go to a 6 a.m. spin class on Tuesdays. I had never once mentioned it to a customer, or posted about it anywhere he could plausibly have seen. I told myself Savannah's a small town dressed up as a city, that people talk, that maybe a coworker knew my schedule and mentioned it in passing to someone. I kept delivering to him because it was easy money, and because if I'm honest, some instinct in me was more curious than afraid, right up until the third month, when he said my ex-boyfriend's name out loud, unprompted, like he was testing how I'd react to hearing it from a stranger's mouth. I stopped delivering to him after that. I told my manager I wasn't feeling well whenever his order came through, and had someone else take it, 3 Fridays running. I thought that would be the end of it. An unpleasant customer quietly phased out, a story I'd tell friends over drinks someday as a "you won't believe this" anecdote. On the 4th Friday, an order came through under a different name, different account, same apartment number I already knew from memory. My manager, not realizing, handed it to me before I could say anything. I almost refused it outright. Instead, some combination of dread and morbid curiosity got me back in the car. He didn't answer the door that night. Instead, a note had been left tucked into the frame, my name written across the front in handwriting I didn't recognize, next to an address that wasn't the apartment I was standing outside of. It was my own, the new place I'd moved into 6 weeks earlier, the lease for which had never once been associated with my delivery job, my social media, or anyone I still spoke to from my old life. I drove home faster than I should have, checked every lock twice, and told myself I was overreacting until my phone buzzed 40 minutes later with a text from a number I didn't recognize. Glad you made it home safe. I like this street better anyway. I never found out how he knew where I lived, or how long he'd known before I did. I moved again within the month, and to this day, every time a delivery driver pulls up outside wherever I'm living, I find myself wondering for just a second too long if they know something about me that I haven't told anyone yet.